there is outright denial that there is climate issues within the community of Bitcoin.
Well, hang on. Can we agree both that climate is a huge issue and that the governmental bodies that want us to care about climate the way they want us to care about climate are often they're full of it?
Oh yeah, no, that's where I was going.
Right. Okay.
It's like, but I think there are others who, it's not that they don't believe it; they worry how it will be used, like COVID was, to manipulate, separate us. Yeah, and I think both issues I think they're separate issues, but they're intrinsically linked.
Well, agreed. But the problem is when you spot somebody lying, you often don't know whether they're lying to help you or lying to hurt you.
Yeah.
Like I know that Anthony Fauci lies to cover up what we were doing in Wuhan and gain of function research. I don't know whether he lies about COVID and vaccines to help me or hurt me or something different. I just don't know why he's lying. And they're two different lies. And so the issue with climate change is I'm very worried about climate, super worried about climate. And then I hear that it's settled science and we have got these models and people are trying to make fun of Jordan Peterson. I mean, let me say it sort of technically accurately. We can barely do the three-body problem or approach it, with point masses and gravitational interactions. This is very hard to do. To take a world with oceans interacting with clouds, interacting with sun cycles, and to say, well, we've solved this. No, you didn't. What you can say is we've run a huge range of models and it appears to be a conserved feature across all of these different types of models that certain observables are within our grasp. And whenever I meet somebody who's doing this, I always ask this question about what's your model of cloud formation? Because when clouds form, they have an effect on the amount of radiation that's bounced back, away from Earth. I don't know what people mean when they say this is settled science. I don't know what they mean that we know this and we have this many years. All of these Supercrisp statements are taking place in an interface between actual science and policy. And you find this in economics, you find this in epidemiology and virology, you find this in climate. Somebody will say, I appreciate that you fancy boys in the ivory towers and you ladies and gentlemen in the halls of Congress don't speak the same language. How do we get the crisp statement so that we can act? And then you have to lie. We have 15 years before we reach the tipping point. How we spend those 15 years will determine the fate of the universe. I get it. You want to do the heavy breathing thing, and it's making science have an effect in Washington, D.C. We need people in Congress who can actually solve equations. We need technical people, and what we've got is we've got like lawyers and rich people, and we need smart people. We need lots. Send more smart people, make them rich, and get the F out of the labs. We need our smart people to be our leaders, our technical people.
Are there any politicians that give you a hope? Is there anyone you look to and think, oh my God, that one person?
It's funny. I was a huge Obama supporter for the first go-round because his optics were amazing. Smart, caring, seemingly open about drug use, otherwise scandal-free. I was a believer. I don't see anybody like that. And I think what I really want is I want 10% of Congress and the Senate to have STEM PhDs. And I want scientists rich. I don't know why this is offensive to people. It's like your entire world
It is offensive?
Oh, it's absolutely offensive.
Why?
Because people want to subordinate everything to the market. They think it's whining. My feeling is your entire life is built on things you don't understand that were developed under an agreement that you've been welching on. Like, I remember the great Raoul Bott was a mathematician, arguably the greatest theorem of the 20th century. I could make a case for it. I used to visit him on Martha's Vineyard at his summer place. And he was a sun worshiper, and we'd skinny dip in the Atlantic, and that was normal. It was normal that a Harvard professor would have a summer place on Martha's Vineyard and be, socializing with people, at the very top echelons of society. And now, a cousin of mine has 2 PhDs, and his stepfather, who has 1 PhD, has like 3 homes. And the guy with 2 PhDs, was struggling. And the old professor with a single PhD, was living this life of real comfort and security. And my feeling is that what we've done is we've taken away academic freedom, and we haven't replaced it with FU money. And I personally was very happy with the academic system, where you'd have a pension, you'd have a lifelong commitment, you'd have a culture that expected things from you, and you'd have an institution that had been around so long that it could guarantee that you could speak your mind. But we've lost that. And so now we've got to replace academic freedom with FU money. It's that simple. If your scientists can't tell you to go fuck yourself, they're not going to be scientists.